New polling data is backing up what Asians in Canada have been saying for months. COVID-19 is sparking an increase in negative attitudes towards us. While discrimination against Asians has always existed in Canada, the new explicit nature of it has some Asian Canadians asking questions about where we fit in when we talk about race.
And even though I was listening to my podcast, I could hear him kind of loudly say a number of sexual and racial comments to me, which I ignored. I didn't want to give him my time of day and just ignore his comments. And that was when he walked past me and he actually turned around and just spat on the side of my face.
That kind of racism is rising in Canada. According to a poll done by Abacus Data exclusively for City News, 93% of Canadians feel there's discrimination against people of Asian descent, but just 14% said there was a lot. The same poll showed 57% of Canadians think negative attitudes towards Asian Canadians are increasing, rising to 69% when you ask Asian people. Trixie Ling is coming forward with her story partly because she was actually listening to a podcast on the need for Asians to speak up and bust the popular myth that Asians are a model minority that don't experience racism.
That you don't confront, you culturally too, you try to integrate, you try to fit in, you try to assimilate. And I think as Asians, we have this proximity closest to whiteness. And so part of assimilating is not talking about it.
Ling says it's important for Asians to understand how they fit into conversations about race in Canada. Asians have participated in protests against racism, but community members can often hold racist attitudes themselves. Some younger Asian Canadians, though, are learning solidarity the hard way during the COVID-19 pandemic.
I talked to my 30-year-old Canadian-born nephew, right, who actually said that this is the first time in his life who really are struck by, and this fear that just being Chinese, we are being target of racist attack. And I think that awareness, hopefully, is edged in him.
Racist infrastructure and system pits groups against each other. So pits Asian against Black and then against Indigenous. And this is how they create more division instead of that unity and solidarity we need right now.
Now, Canada has an anti-racism strategy which names Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, and anti-Black and anti-Indigenous racism and even homophobia as things to be stamped out. But not once in the document is anti-Asian racism mentioned, with community groups across the country tracking incidents of hate crimes against Asians. It's hoped that the strategy can find room to fight anti-Asian racism as well. In Ottawa, Xiaoli Li, City News.